So yeah, here's where probably the entire team was sweating.
Screaming like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I knew here if I get to his outside and he even touches me, that'd be good. The entire season, it's all come down to, you know, I'm needing you to hit one lap.
So much pressure. It's probably the most pressure I think I've been in.
At this point, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking now. I know that Seb has fastest lap, he got pole, and now he's going to win, so that's 7 points he's going to take off me. I'm sort of doing the math in my head. Hi guys, and welcome to Peter and I here reviewing the last 2 rounds of the Porsche Carrera Cup GB Championship. Obviously, a lot of you guys might know the result, some of you might not, but we're going to kind of take a look back at the final 2 meetings and round off the championship.
So yeah, as you can see then, qualifying results. I think both of us were a bit obviously disappointed, you know, firstly because we're behind the Red Bulls, but yeah, I think both of us never really maximised our laps. I think we both felt that we probably had the time at least to get to pole, so a little bit disappointing starting off on the back foot, but with the reverse grids, it's not the end of the world, you know, it sort of leaves opportunities there.
And then we'll see in a minute, kind of your race really didn't go to plan either, which left me even more of an issue than what I thought.
Yeah, super frustrating for me, you know. Everything working fine through the practice, through the qualifying, no issues, and we come to the race and the grid button is just not there, it's just unavailable.
Yeah, at the start here, obviously I knew I had to get a good start. I knew our starts had been better than Red Bull for most of the season. So was kind of hoping we'd get the same again here, but you know, Seb was super aggressive off the line, as we'll see here in a second. I got a good start, but yeah, you can see Seb straight away moves over, and at this point here I was in the grass. As I tried to hook to the left here, I actually got a 4X with him, which, you know, wasn't intentional and kind of put me on the back foot.
It's mad that it's even a 4X.
Yeah, like it didn't really feel like that much. And then here I got a bit of a run again, but down the hill, really just can't do much, and then a massive wash of dirt air here, and that was kind of the first lap settled for a while.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for Seb. Like we've spoke about, you know, in races previous in the season, he's in a really awkward spot.
Yep.
You know, he needs to be ahead of his teammate for his championship hopes, but it's a teammate, so you can't really do anything stupid. So he's sort of stuck, you know, in this: do I go or do I not?
So yeah, at this point then, we've sort of closed the gap back up to Graham. You can see I'm sort of like 4 tenths back, so it starts getting really, really tight, especially in the lower speed corner. So I've given Seb a bit of a nudge at the hairpin that sort of unsettled him a little bit, and I thought, right, into the final corner, we'll sort of show the nose, just see if it gets him offline. And he's sort of backed up his entry a little bit more than I expected to obviously not run through the back of his teammate, something that we had spoken about before, and it gave me an opportunity here. So for some reason he didn't defend turn 1. I was like, right, okay, well, I'll sort of stick the nose up the inside. Really didn't leave me much space, but you know, to be expected. And then through the double right here, he gave me even less space and sort of turned right into me. I had my right hand side tyres on the curb. I couldn't do much more. I even lifted just before contact, but you know, Seb just was interested in you know, giving absolutely zero space, as he had done the last few rounds.
Most of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at this point here, if I get by him, then it's really bad for his championship, so I get it. You know, but I definitely think that it was a little bit too far, especially after this race as well, when, you know, some of the things he was saying was pretty funny.
Yeah, interesting to say the least.
Yeah, but you know, it was good. Like when someone starts piping up in the chat here, you can see we get a little bit of door banging as well. He's on the outside for the chicane, so I knew coming into here he was really at a disadvantage, and then I just sort of parked in the middle of the corner and he had nowhere to go but sort of into the rear bumper. So, and yeah, you can see the checker comes out there. So Graham picked up the win. Wasn't ideal, you know, lost, was it 6 points, because he got the bonus point for pole. I'm not sure who got fastest lap. You know, it worked out in this race. Managed to pick up a P2, minimise the damage to Graham, pick up some points on Seb, which is obviously really good, and split them for the reverse grid for race 2. Alright, so race 2 now, and you can see Chadwick on pole with Matt Emery P2, Jamie Moon P3, and then Seb, myself and Graham, obviously the top 6 inverted from race 1. So obviously for yourself, you're starting from the back.
Yeah, I'm on the grid, finally. Yeah, at this point it's pretty much dead for me, so trying to have a bit of fun, see how many places I can make up. That's really all there is for me at this point.
You can see Emery's off, so that means Seb's already P2, I'm P4. So there's a car start between us, which isn't really what I wanted. I was sort of hoping Seb could cut through for me, sort of make the space, but you know, for myself, it's just a case of trying to get through Jamie as quickly as possible here. Had a bit of a dive, got a little bit of understeer, and I did sort of clip him here, but it was just a little bit of a nudge.
Yeah, GT racing really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to kind of get your elbows out at these tracks to get the move done, you know. It's something I've been doing all season, so calculated risk, and it worked out. So yeah, at this point I think, yeah, Seb was just in front, Chadwick got a slow down at the chicane, and then after lap 1 we were sort of 1-2, and at this point it was a case of just trying to put pressure on him. Alright, so starting the final lap then, you can see the gap at the top left there. You know, Seb had pretty good pace, and at that point I just started to kind of back it down, and you know, I had a big gap it back to Jamie, so I was just a case of, you know, no point taking any risks. If I push flat out, best case scenario I can probably match Seb, or maybe gain half a tenth here or there. So it's just a case of managing the risk at this point. I knew I'd gained points on him in race 1, and Graham was out at the championship hunt, so I had a pretty healthy buffer.
So the grid up on the screen then, this is us into the finale of Brands Hatch. So this is sort of where we're looking at the regulations, double checking everything, looking at all the scenarios. Where does Kev need to finish? If Seb finishes in certain places. Really, really important. We definitely, I think, did a really good job of making sure, you know, what was legal and what wasn't, what we could and couldn't do and things like that. And then obviously you can see the quality results then. So pretty decent. I think this is sort of what we were after. Although Seb's P1, it's sort of not so bad having us both two, you know, second and third on the grid there to try and make things happen.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we knew coming in that as long as I was on the podium in both races, that would probably be enough, barring any sort of insane driving from Seb. All right, so yeah, at this point the heart rate is kind of beginning to increase. Obviously you do all your planning and you're thinking off the track, but it's nothing quite prepares you for when you're sat on the grid.
Yeah, this is it.
Ready to go.
So if memory serves, you get a really good launch, and I think instantly I just say, you know, take it, just take all the space you need, and at that point I'm ready to give it up. You get a really
I don't know
really
what
good
happened
launch.
on the start. The car just took off. I ended up being alongside Seb towards turn 1 here, had a bit of a dive on the brakes. He left me no space yet again for the second week running, and fired himself off the track. And yeah, really a dream start for us. Yeah, at this point here, I had a massive sigh of relief coming into turn 5 on lap 1. I was like, right, we're 1-2. You know, like if I win race 1, it's looking really, really good. You know, I'd go into race 2 with like a 22 or a 23 point lead, and you get 25 for a win. So literally all I'd have to do is just finish the race in race 2.
So yeah, this stage of the race then, as you can see coming out of this corner, Seb's really starting to put me under a lot of pressure. He's able to get set up runs and have, you know, sort of half-hearted dives, trying to sort of get me off the apex. But this is sort of the first corner where he really full heart sends it, and that's really all it took to set me up. It obviously creates a bit of a gap to Kev now. As you can see, it's up over, you know, around 8 tenths, and he's right under my rear wing. So this is sort of where the defending has to start. I realised that at this point I'm at a big disadvantage. Obviously Seb's trying to set up the cutback, and I misjudge it into here. As you can see, I leave too much space, so it allows Seb to create a little bit of overlap to get a really good cutback. And we go side by side for a few corners until eventually it all sort of comes undone into here. Seb takes a bit too much curb on the inside and doors me off the track.
All right, so literally only 5 or 6 minutes later, and Seb is right within that 0.3 bubble that we spoke about. And at this point here, yeah, 10 minutes to try and defend. Not ideal, and here Seb has a massive lunge, a desperation lunge really, and obviously I'm the one with everything to lose, so I thought, right, I'll let him have the entry, I'll try and get the cut back on the exit. But I just didn't quite get the cut back the way I wanted, and at this point here Seb cleared me. He parked centre quite hard here. I think we ended up actually 4xing here. I tried to sort of nudge him wide mid-corner like I did at Donington, but his car just didn't move. Ended up giving me a 4xing at this point. That's Seb into P1, and Graham right behind me in P3. So at this point it's a little bit more nerve-wracking now. I know that Seb has fastest lap, he got pole, and now he's going to win, so that's 7 points he's going to take off me. I'm sort of doing the math in my head. And it's like, right, okay, well, I've got 9 points advantage into race 2, and I'm starting ahead of him. It should all still be okay. At this point, I wasn't really panicking too much.
I was struggling. Like I'm trying my absolute hardest to try and get involved here. Obviously, I realize that you're under pressure from Graham behind, so I'm trying to do the best I can to get to Graham. But with obviously the 3 cars of dirty air and stuff like that, I found it really difficult to get any closer.
So yeah, here's where probably the entire team was sweating,
screaming like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I mean, I knew here if I get to his outside and he even touches me, that I'd be good. Here you can see he didn't quite leave a car with, but
This was another moment that made me crap myself as well, because I can't see you two ahead of each other because Graham's ahead of me.
Yeah.
So I come around the corner, all of a sudden Graham pulls to the right, and I've got your car at 45 degrees sideways. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I've got to be honest,
the
the heart rate did kind of go up there. Yeah, Seb picks up the win, maximum points in race 1 as well with the pole and fastest lap. So, you know, not ideal. But again, we still had 9 points. We're going to be starting ahead of him. Felt okay. And then, of course, during race 1 and race 2 is when you guys actually told me that Seb had hit you off the track. And when I had a look at it, I was like, right, okay, I'm pretty sure Seb's going to get found at fault for that. Yeah, so it felt really good knowing that I sort of had that in my back pocket, a possible penalty coming for Seb. And of course, if you get a 5-second penalty for that, it's going to drop him to P4. And it would obviously promote me to the win, so that would be massive points gained if he does end up getting a penalty for that. So here's the starting grid then for the final race of the season. Seb has it all to do in P6, and we've got a couple guys on the front row that, we know Jamie's pretty respectful, a good racer, but I hadn't really raced Matt a whole lot, so I was a little bit apprehensive about him. The only time he's really been up there was at Donington in the last round, where he had a bit of a mistake on lap 1 and sort of went off, so I knew that when we got to him it was going to be a little bit hard. Yeah, at this point here, heart rate wasn't actually as high as I thought it would be. I was a little bit calmer, I think, maybe because I knew the penalty was sort of looming over him. And obviously I was clean in race 1. I didn't really have any issues besides maybe turn 1, but I had a pretty good case to defend that. So yeah, on the grid I knew I had a really good start in race 1. Hopefully the same again. But as we spoke about at Brands Indy, the straight sort of goes down and then back up again. So
yeah, I had a bit of a tough start here. Obviously, you can see the barrier on our left-hand side here. I got a better start in the cars ahead, but I couldn't go to the right because the barrier was there. So I had to obviously go to the left. I then get wedged in the middle, and everything just comes together. I sort of just get stuck in a wrong place, wrong time. And then into T2, I get a big massive shunt from behind, and yeah, again, a bit disappointing. Possible, bit of podium money, help out with with points at the front. And that's all out the window. So straight away at this point, I guess it's important to note we've got guys in the background that are feeding us information in terms of the points and things like that. So straight away we know that fastest lap is what I've just got to focus on for the rest of the race here.
Yeah, you can see here already I got up to P3, and then Seb had a massive dive at turn 5. Again, I've got everything or turn 4, sorry. So I've got everything to lose, so I'm a little bit apprehensive. And then here you can see Seb gets fired off the track. Again, turned into me. I was on the curb. 3rd or 4th race in a row where he's just turned in and fired himself off, and that let Chadwick through. I had Jamie Moon on my inside. I knew this corner was scary on the outside, but again, as always, Jamie was super clean. Chadwick decides to defend the inside, which is fair enough. I go to the outside, and then on the exit, Chadwick just doesn't accelerate, and all of a sudden I'm boxed in with Seb. I try to sort of make it up the middle 3 wide there, a little bit of contact with Seb, and then again, Seb parks centre so that Chadwick can get the run off the corner. Smart from Seb, but Chadwick doesn't really fight Seb at all there, but then fights me for P4, and there's no money even up for grabs there. So that was kind of where my qualms came from. And then you can see here he gets netcoded off the track, which I wasn't really too worried about. He broke early and I didn't hit him. So at this point here, I got the call on the radio that if Seb wins the race, which it looks likely he's going to, I need to finish P3. But if Seb gets fastest lap and wins with me in P3, then I would lose the championship on countback. And at that point, I'm like, right, okay, this is bad. I think Seb had 5 wins, I had 4, and if he obviously was to win this, it would be 6. And then I started thinking, last year I lost by 1 point, and this year I'm going to lose by no points. It really started to sting.
These are the moments, sort of, I guess we sort of take a bit for granted, but the guys, our teammates behind the scenes, like they maybe don't think they're doing much, but it's really, really important, the stuff they're doing behind the scenes here, you know.
Oh yeah.
The information we're being fed, you know, this is the lap time you need to beat, this is what's happening, this is the points situation, all that stuff is super, super helpful. Yeah, at this point of the race for me then, obviously, I'm getting fed the information that obviously Seb's going to be passing Graham, so that's going to increase the points. If you manage to get the third, we're going to be locked and Seb's going to win on the tiebreaker, so I need the fastest lap.
You know, Matt left me some space. I had to be pretty brave on the brakes, and you can see here he's just ran it in deep, trying to door me off. So I just, you know, used some experience and got an over-under on him and sort of got the job done. You know, I kind of saw it coming a mile off, so could counter it quite easily and get the job done. So
like I say then, at this point, obviously trying to get all my preparation work done. I've got the teammates in my ear let me know that, you know, Kev's, I think at the time, maybe 10, 12 seconds back. So, you know, I'm getting information that it's probably more beneficial to go for a bit of slipstream. Obviously, I think you told me, you know, yeah, I've got a gap behind that you can slot into. So, as you'll see here, that's when I start waiting to drop back into the slipstream and have a crack at it. So at this point, the heart rate's going up for me because I get into your slipstream and then you're like, okay, next lap's a white flag, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
like it's on me.
The entire season, it's all come down to, you know, I'm needing you to hit one lap. So this is the final lap now. So this is it. Like we've said on the front straight, all right, let's do it. And everyone at this point is just quiet. Like there's nothing anyone else can do. It's all down to you and me. And I think this sort of sums up how good we worked together all season. You know, it was a kind of perfect crescendo where
we were both on the same page, because coming into this corner, it's like, you're gonna have to let me go. It's like, yeah, I'll give you the slipstream down the straight.
Like I already knew coming into here when I saw the gap out of turn 3, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to just let Pete go. But it was okay as long as you got draft up the hill. That was kind of like where the main time was.
So you sort of back off a little bit to maximise my slipstream.
Yeah.
And then once you pull away, I've got half a lap on my own.
Clear
and at
air.
This point, I can hear my heartbeat in my head. You know, thump, 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 thump. It's like so much pressure. It's probably the most pressure I think I've been in, at least that I can remember. I don't even think IRA 1 World Championship I was under as much pressure.
So you can see here, Seb crosses the line. They've got the graphic up as if he's won the championship.
My heart's dropped on this lap as well.
You know what's funny, right, is that all season no one done the perfect race weekend.
Yeah.
And then the one time Seb needed it, he actually did it. He managed to do it. But then here you can see coming across the line.
It was kind of funny because I had the delta up and I made a mistake in the second to last corner and I lost like 600, 700ths. And in my head I'm like, you fucked it.
And at this point, provisionally, we've won it, but obviously I couldn't celebrate because I knew that there was going to be stewards' decisions.
Yeah, and there was a lot to go through.
Massive shout out to the stewards in this series. They did a really great job of, you know, they let all the protests come in and accumulate, but then they'll sit down and they'll actually have a conversation with you, and you can put across your point before they make any kind of decision at all.
I think this championship made a huge step.
I agree.
This year, especially in that department.
But yeah, obviously in the end we won the championship. Seb was awarded a 5-second penalty for what he'd done in race 1 with Pete, just force him off the track a little bit.
Basically the 5-second penalty in race 1 was essentially it meant that the last lap point didn't really matter in the end.
It's still a nice sort of storyline. You know, you picked up the fastest lap on the last lap of the championship to snatch it.
Exciting to people to watch anyways. Thanks for watching. That's it from us for our championship. What a great championship it was in the end. I'd like to thank obviously everyone involved in the back end, from the broadcasting and obviously the stewarding that we've talked about before. Really makes these championships work. Hopefully we can come back for more. Hopefully next year, as you can see, this championship, solid racing every single round. It's always action-packed. Don't forget, guys, to sign up to the Apex Academy then. Obviously, a big part of what we do is creating our data packs, and you can learn and compare against us every week in multiple different cars and disciplines. From ourselves here, obviously, I do the single-seaters and a bit of GT4. Kev's obviously in GT3s and the Porsche Cup that you've seen here today. So, who better to compare against than a champion of, one of these series.